Hey, y'all. Welcome to another great episode of Unapologetic with your host, Vincent Balducci. As always, the views and opinions expressed here on Unapologetic and on NAD are just our own and just our own views. They do not represent the views and opinions of any other person or group. With that being said, do y'all like statues? If so, stars help us put up statues. So please click that stars button down below. And with your stars, we will help put more statues and monuments across Dixie. Also, y'all, sharing is caring. Make sure that y'all like this video and share this video to anyone who might be interested. In addition, make sure that y'all give us a good review. If you like our content, explain why. Reviews help us reach more people and help us get out there. We've already grown so much here at MAD, and I would like to see us grow more. To think about where we were back in January, we have come such a long way. We are reaching people all over, not just in Dixie, but all across the USA and even in other countries and continents, which is fantastic. So with that being said, going along those lines, some really interesting stuff happened on Twitter lately. I was a little nervous at first, and again, I'm still cautiously optimistic. Since Elon Musk took over Twitter, it actually has gone in our favor. Before Elon Musk owning Twitter, Twitter used to be notorious for the #1 app with the strictest censorship rules. I had about probably 5 accounts that were permanently banned on Twitter. One of them was simply sharing an SCV Camp logo, which includes the battle flag. The battle flag itself, you'd get censored on Twitter. No explanation. I would go through the kangaroo court on Twitter, and you would know that it would automatically result in you being guilty and found of automatically, you get yelled at and say, oh, no, not going to come back on. We're going to uphold the... Victor, you're too funny. Victor says, and if you're vegan, eat a hamburger. Y'all, I was vegan for 5 years strict, not by choice. Hey there. He said, hi, Vinny. Thank you. You are welcome, man. All right, y'all. And so here's the fun thing with Twitter. On Twitter, if you show the battle flag, you actually get a lot of likes and follows. This is the secret to how things have been suppressed the last few years. When we saw our monuments coming down in 2020, people go, where is everyone? Just know that back then we were trying to go on social media. Our posts would get censored. They'd either get hidden and moved to the bottom or we'd get blocked. That was the problem on Twitter. Twitter would censor everything on here. And when you control the media, you control the narrative. And when you control the narrative, you control the monument. That's that whole cycle of how it happened. Media censorship leads to left-wing ideology getting promoted, leads to left-wing actions being taken while suppressing those of us that are tired of seeing where our country is going. So I really am excited to see where this country goes in the future. With Twitter, I know, it's not going to be overnight where it's going to be fixed, but I will say, which is pretty impressive, my one Twitter, NJ Flaggers, we went from like 200 followers, which I worked tirelessly for almost 2 years to build up to that, doubled overnight to 400. I think it's even higher now, but I'm getting notifications saying, share, you can say whatever you want now on Twitter. It's not that you're restricted as it should be. We need a First Amendment right. So this is going to be a positive change for Twitter. And I wonder if it's going to encourage other social media sites to then see how good Twitter is becoming and how they want to try to step it up and, dial back on some of their ridiculous rules they've had. So it really should be interesting to see where this goes in the future. Also, please consider helping out our buddies at the Alamo City Guards. They are a fantastic group. They do the ACG chat, and they are in the process of putting up the Tejano statue. The Tejanos were a group of fantastic Hispanics that fought in the war between the states for the Confederacy. More Hispanics were actually on the Confederate side than on the Union side, which is always so interesting to learn. We have many of their descendants alive and well today that honor their ancestors by being part of heritage groups such as the UDC, OCR, and SCV. I'm hoping in the near future I will get Mr. Rich Garcia to come on here and do his program. Mr. Rich Garcia does a fantastic program on the Hispanic experience in the Confederate Army. There's my buddy, Mr. Dave Roper. Great to hear from you. He says, hello from Dave and Cindy Roper. You ready for a road trip? Always, man. Y'all, he is such a great gentleman, and his wife is such an incredible patriot for the cause, and an honor to hang out with during reunion. We had the best of laughs. Being in the car with y'all was the best. I should have gone live. We would have had a good laugh. I miss y'all so much, and I hope that I'll be seeing y'all in Arkansas. I'll be more than happy to take a road trip with y'all down there. I think, y'all state would be a lot closer to Arkansas than like me driving from, Jersey to Arkansas would be a heck of a ride. This is the other great thing too. I love this little community on here. We got to have these great, talks with one another, great interactions. It's so much fun. And I think with Twitter being the way it is now, reducing their censorship, it's going to be a lot easier for people to reach that younger generation and even other people who are interested. Because depending on where you fall on that generation scale, every generation has something to offer when it comes to fighting cancel culture. The younger generation, they have the technology. The more mature generation, whether you are a baby boomer, Gen X, Gen Z, y'all can, or millennial, y'all can add a mix of the tech side as well as the writing and really come out with some great things. I have some great compatriots that are older. They don't know how to use technology per se, still teaching some of them how to use it. And they can give me great write-ups and great information on, what to cite, what to look at. Because as we know, a lot of stuff online is so censored that when you try to find a good article or even a good book about the truth between the war between the states, it's near impossible. Even some of the archives have gotten rid of collections on there. So what I usually do is I get a lot of books on either eBay or Abe Books or Thrift Books, and I try to find books that you can't find anywhere else. I found a fantastic book on the California Confederates that was compiled by the California UDC. California has a fantastic SCV and UDC division, which I was very impressed with. California even had a Confederate veterans home in Los Angeles, go figure, of all places. So that was really great too. Mr. Hugh Salter, great to hear y'all rather than you guys. I'll tell you, man, I always say y'all, and I said it for, growing up, my grandpa would say it. He was a huge country music addict. Our great uncle, even though he was born in New York, his family was from Georgia. So he would always say y'all, and great Southern word. You also hear a rarity in New Jersey, and you'll hear either in New Jersey or Maryland or Delaware, some people say use guys, and it's like nails on a chalkboard when I hear that. Like use, I'm like, oh, and it's spelled like Youse. I'm like, that's not proper grammar. Y'all's better. And that's my favorite thing too, is I know some really great Southern ladies that they were visiting New York City, and the one waitress kept saying, you guys, and the lady goes, can you just say y'all because we're not guys? So also, what is everyone doing on this Sunday? Did y'all have a good weekend? I know too, with Twitter, I'm getting its nice, I call it the unwoke makeover. So wonder if I can put a poll up. That'd be fun. Because I think you could do a poll on here or something. Still figuring this form out. We're going to have a whole makeover with this too. So this will look a lot nicer in about a week or so, provided I can, figure things out on here. And we are going to hopefully start streaming on YouTube as well, because we do have a YouTube and it would reach an audience on there. Maybe someone who's not on Facebook is on YouTube and they want to learn more. That's a great way to have them get this information in. We also have some guest speakers coming up. I know that we have a nurse that will be coming on soon and talk about how the protocols were breached during the protocols of 2020. And we have another nurse coming on as well, who is a good medical freedom advocate. I also will be having the discount code coming up soon from Nurse Nicole. She has made a discount which will help everyone who want to take her classes take the classes at a discount. And please do. Who knows? Y'all might run into me on there. Guarantee that we can network on there, have a great time, and learn how to be active with our own health. We also will have an additional discount on top of the discount. So I believe, if I heard what she told me right, you can purchase the class and then at some point apply the discount to it and get a discount off. But she does have a very good store, and I do believe she also sells her teas online, and her teas are fantastic. So whether you're having a tea or some kind of nice little event, her fall teas are wonderful flavors. She has pumpkin spice tea. She has like a chocolate chai tea it doesn't have caffeine in it. And they all have really great names. And my favorite tea that she has is named after her father, who is a Vietnam veteran. And it's a Jim's tea, which is just got such a great memory behind it. And it's way better than Lipton tea. I also hope too, because we're going to be doing some field trips in New Jersey, I will be going to the boyhood home of General French. For those that don't know, General French was born in New Jersey. He left New Jersey to go to Florida, and then he fought in the war between the states as a Confederate. He has a cenotaph in Pennsylvania. He has a boyhood home that is a protected landmark in New Jersey, and he has it buried in Florida. So he is a man who has ties to mostly up north, but again was a proud Confederate. I also had a great time too at my Halloween party I went to. I dressed up as General Lee. Great feedback. People were super impressed. They were like, I really like this costume. They wanted to learn more about the SCV, what we do here at Monuments Across Dixie, and all these other things. That people are willing to hear you out if you educate. And that's where we got to use Halloween to our advantage. If y'all ever get, Reese's peanut butter cups or some kind of candy bar you're giving out for Halloween, get a sticker. So, something about, we need more stickers like SCV stickers or stuff learning the truth about what the battle flag means. Put the stickers on the candy bar with the battle flag and hand them out as candies. It gets the word across. I know the Learn the Risk campaign, they did that and they got more people involved that way because, it was like advertising. That's a great way to advertise your message and your cause and all that. Is anyone dressing up for Halloween? Anyone doing anything fun for Halloween? I like, because, it's a great time to dress up and educate. So it's the one day that it's socially acceptable to wear a full-on Confederate uniform the whole day out. So I always love doing that. However, I will say in general, when I'm not wearing a full-on uniform, I'm always having the battle flag represented. We also will be having our Save Southern Heritage meeting. Hopefully we'll have a finalized date for when that will be for November, but our November program, I am hoping to get John Hill on there, who is a direct descendant of General A.P. Hill, and he is also related to General Lee, and he has been speaking out against what happened in Richmond. So for those that don't know, or those that did not watch last night's episode with me and Corey, Richmond has one last, not even monument, they have one last Confederate tie, and that's the grave. It is a gravesite of A.P. Hill. He had in his will that he wanted to be buried there. He is buried underneath the monument. So the city is going against what A.P. Hill wanted, and they're digging up a grave. They are taking his headstone. That is not a monument. That is a headstone. Veterans headstone, and it's going to the Black History Museum, which is the Valentine Museum in Virginia. That museum also houses the statue of Jefferson Davis, and it's covered in paint. It's disgusting. This is iconoclasm like we have on a whole new level. We have never seen something like this horrific in our country before, and it has to be one of the worst things I've seen in our country's time, which is so unfortunate that they're digging up veterans' graves or digging up their bodies. That's absolutely revolting. That monument, that grave should stay right there. They shouldn't even touch it because that's where he wanted to be buried. Richmond and Virginia is not enforcing their own laws. They need to be sued. Virginia has a monuments law, and Mayor LeVar Stoney had violated that law. He is the one major actor in this whole criminal ordeal. The other unfortunate thing, too, is with Virginia and all that, a lot of the damage, it's going to take a while to fix. It is possible to get all those monuments back on Monument Avenue. However, that Lee statue, they purposely cut that in half and in pieces so it could never be put back up. Those monuments rightfully belong to the Southerners of Virginia and to the UDC, and the fact that Richmond is going above and beyond the law, thinking it's greater than the law, is so unfortunate and so ridiculous. And the judge that ruled the A.P. Hill statue is absolutely ridiculous for doing a ruling like that, going against families' wishes. How low of a human being do you have to be to do something like that? And I also want to mention, too, coming up, there is the Confederate Heroes Day event that the Alamo City Guards Camp is hosting, and that is on our page. Please support them. Please go to that event. It's in Texas. They do things, bigger and more grand in Texas, so I'm sure it's going to be a fun event. Al Arnold will be there. I'm also in the process of getting Al Arnold on here for the book interview. This will be a one-on-one interview between me and Al Arnold. We're going to talk about his book, and he is a great guy. He has a whole different perspective on the South coming from a black man. So it's really great. So, people often use the South, and they do the South and they'll say, oh, if you're a person of color, you have to have a bad experience. Al Arnold completely destroys that agenda that the school's teaching. His book from South, I believe it's From South Toward Home, is such a great book. And it is a book that I honestly would love to see in every single school because it shows a modern experience down South, and it's wonderful. It shows the great side of the Confederacy. It shows diversity in the Confederacy. He has Confederate ancestry. He's a man of color, and he's a proud member of the SCV, and he's proud of his Confederate heritage. This is what we need to hear more stories of, because for far too long, both CNN, Fox News, the left, the right, they try to paint us as these horrible people that are, that we're not tolerant. They'll use the big R word to describe us. And we're not that at all. We're actually a very diverse and mellow group. It's the left and the rhino right that is actually the big R's in this situation. Let me just take one quick look, because if I'm not mistaken, I just want to see if I actually went up in Twitter followers. God, y'all, I am more than half. I went more than double, actually, is a better word of describing that. I was probably at like barely 200 followers before the Twitter got unwoke, and now I'm about 520 followers. That's incredible. So I will be super excited to see where that goes in the future. Also, I figured while I'm at it, I wanted to talk a little bit too about the book. So I apologize for the delayed book review. Yesterday was more of a book review at Corey. I meant to elaborate more, that we were going to talk about literature, and we talked about In Defense of General Beauregard, and we talked about Bust Hell Wide Open, Nathan Bedford Forrest's autobiography. This will be the book review that I am doing for this week, and it's In Defense of General Beauregard, or In General Beauregard's Defense, by past CIC Larry McClooney Jr. It is a really good book. He uses colorized photos in here, and I thought that was a great touch, because often when we're looking at history, they say that when you have colorized photos of these historical figures, it helps people learn better. That's a colorized photo of General Beauregard. Look at how cool that is. I also wanted to mention something in here, because people don't know this, but General Beauregard, he was a very strong personality. If he liked you, he really liked you. If he did not like you, he did not like you, and there was no gray area at all. In some ways, President Jefferson Davis was like that. Jefferson Davis also tended to like to micromanage people, and that did not sit well with Beauregard. Beauregard had a fantastic success at 1st and 2nd Manassas, and what happened was he wanted to go and invade DC, and he was not allowed to do so. I truly think that if he did invade DC, the war would have been over real quick, and we would have succeeded in gaining independence. So that also shows you, too, that, you know, in the Confederacy, there were certain arguments. It shows that in order to truly win a cancel culture war or a reconstruction, we all have to be united. We have to put our differences aside and fight like we've never fought before. You know, we can't just sit there idly by and argue. The enemy is too strong and too united, and we have to be more united than the enemy is. And I can't stress that enough. As good Christians, the Lord wants us to fight. Know for a fact. This right here, hands down, is one of the most beautiful flags to catch the wind. This is St. Andrew's Cross. This is a Christian symbol. This flag represents Christians, Catholics, anyone who views or anyone who has God as their Lord and Savior, even people that are Jewish. This is a symbol of God. The cross and banner, if y'all have seen that, the cross of Maryland, that is a Confederate symbol, and it was also based off a cross. Mr. Christian Scholl says, "Woo, good for you, dude. Thank you, man." Yeah, this is more of just like a last minute little update video to talk about some of the changes that are coming here. We're going to have more interviews on here. Ideally, I try to schedule my interviews for either a Wednesday night or a Saturday night. Usually Saturday works a lot better unless otherwise dictated. I'm going to do my best to try to make the symposium in February for the Stephen Dill Lee Institute. That will hopefully be in, I believe, Florida it is. So I'm going to be hopefully going to that. And I will be going to Lee Jackson Day, which is in January. I will also be at the SCV reunion, and I'm going to try to make the Gettysburg reenactment to be there. Gettysburg, to go there flagging, is honestly one of the best experiences, very pro-Confederate. You know, you'll see battle flags flying at certain times of the year. I went there right before the 4th of July, and they had a lot of proud Confederates there. That is so important. When you go to Gettysburg, bring your colors. Walk down the street with your battle flags. Bring your battle flags to the park. Make your colors known that we're still present. We're still there. We're still proud to honor our ancestors. It's unfortunate to say, but a majority of these battlefields like Gettysburg, they are only so well manicured because it was a Union victory. Most of the time when it was a Confederate victory, it was either forgotten about or paved over, or in certain cases, our ancestors were just left out there dead. They weren't given a proper burial like Gettysburg was. And in Gettysburg, a majority of the time, they didn't want the Confederate dead there. They actually exhumed them and they sent them back down south. I think there's only like several Confederates that are still buried in Gettysburg. And as an ironic turn of events, I believe their families wanted their loved ones and they haven't gotten them back. They also don't let you leave battle flags in that cemetery there, which is so unfortunate because that is a flag that our ancestors fought, died, and bled for. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I just wanted to give you all an update, quick little video. Make sure you share this video. Sharing helps, our page get more views. Give us a review if you like our content. Oh, yes. Mr. Barry says, Vinny, when you get the time, could you please post the name of the book where the feds put the lady's feet into the hot coals where she lost her legs? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Oh, Hugh, thank you so much for this. Mr. Hugh Salter says, Abbotteville Institute is having a conference next April in Callaway Gardens. I will do my best to make that one. No promises, but that sounds absolutely divine. I love the Abbeville Institute, y'all. You have great programs on there. And the best part is you can actually buy the programs that were, previous recordings, take the course and learn a lot about history. I attended their Robert E. Lee one, which was in October, and they had some really good talks. You had the whole day of just pure history, and I love that. I might even hopefully apply for one of those scholarships because I am a PhD student. It's a grad student, and always happy to learn more history. Thank you for that, Mr. Salter. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can find that book. If I can't pull it up now, I am going to, should be able to find it for y'all and post the link. Because I know it was in last week's episode. This is what I like about this program is that instead of having, your phone, because if you were on your phone before, someone calls you, it interrupts the whole stream. You might lose your voice. You might get muted, and that ain't good. So definitely a much better, more forgivable, and more versatile platform. And it looks a lot better, more aesthetic, more professional. Okay. So let me see. If I can find the book link, I believe someone posted it there. Here it is. It's Confederate Women of Arkansas. I'm going to pull this up and I'll post a link. Confederate Women of Arkansas in the Civil War, 1861 to 65. And on the front, there's a sketch of that woman whose feet were badly burned off. Confederate Women of Arkansas in the Civil War. I'm going to see if I can find the Amazon book because it's right on Amazon. This link should hopefully help y'all. That is where y'all will find that book about that woman whose feet were badly burned. For those that missed the stream, there was a woman in Arkansas who the Federals tortured her. They took her feet and they put it on hot coals in a metal tube, burned her feet so badly. And if y'all know what it's like, when you get a burn, especially on your feet, it's near impossible to walk. And what happened was she got basically a 4th-degree burn. So when the nerves are destroyed, it can get infected. She had to have her legs amputated. So, and it was a higher amputation than just her foot because they burned her so badly. So that is right there, the book link. Any other questions from y'all? And also, a big tip I recommend is getting on Twitter. You all got to make a Twitter. Go on there, make a pro-Confederate account. If you have a UDC chapter, OCR chapter, or SEV camp, make a whole separate, page for your group. Post pro-Confederate stuff on there. Talk about our history. Do discussions and all that. The more you post, the more it becomes visible. And with Twitter going unwoke, now is the time to jump on this bandwagon and promote and post like y'all have never posted before. The more we post that battle flag, the more it normalizes it. That battle flag is a veteran's flag, and it's an American flag. So by us actually fighting against this cancel culture, we will win this because for far too long, they were controlling us by censoring our posts, making it seem like that we were a small minority when we really are a vocal majority, and people forget that. Some people ended up giving up. I stuck out this whole thing. I've had, 5 Twitter accounts, my TikTok. I've been fighting against cancel culture on there. It's an ongoing battle. And we also got to make it known that if we have a TikTok video removed, post there in the comments, report a problem in TikTok and explain how y'all will be bringing your business to Twitter, because Twitter actually values free speech unlike TikTok does. And I guarantee the narrative and the whole virtue signaling nonsense is going to be over real quick. I also had an experience too. I was helping a family member because they wanted to learn better writing skills. And the one source they were given for a college class is a pro CRT essay where it's teaching people to basically feel guilty if they are white or anything. And that's so ridiculous. This is also what we have to fight against at the college level. For far too long, we're being told to be guilty for our heritage, being guilty of our ethnicity. That is not okay. That is how the left is winning this cancel culture war, because of what is done in college. Parents are now getting together and they're going after the school board, but we need more parents to actually go after the college board because of how college is handling things. Crazy thing too is that there was a college in New Jersey. They had a student that she was found deceased. The school was just trying to cover it up. And the best part is the school prides itself in diversity and this and that, but they don't even have good campus safety. That's pretty scary. That's another thing that people have used this whole cancel culture thing with. Mr. Barry says, we'll be moving to Twitter. Thanks. You are welcome, sir. Yeah, just make an account. Make one. Keep posting battle flags in there. Share your stuff. It gets the word out because the algorithm is a lot better on Twitter now. They have made changes for the better, because on Twitter, you would be shadow banned for life. A lot of people wouldn't see posts. You would only see like a handful. And then on Twitter, I noticed when I was on there, I would see like posts from radicals like Nina Turner and all these other like left-wing people. And I'm like, why is this happening? It's so weird. You were censored so badly on Twitter where you couldn't even like hear anything. Twitter is definitely a great, place to go to teach the history. And again, when you're on Twitter, always represent the colors with, with respect. Don't be, going to the left's level by cussing and all that. Keep it PG, keep it nice. Post the battle flag, post the history. And if people give you a hard time, just say, bless your heart. Because guess what? Their interaction with you is actually going to further boost your post. I had a about 20 comment response from one of our trolls on Twitter, and it caused me to over double in followers. So that little interaction actually led to more growth, plus the unwoke algorithm, which is what we want to promote in the future. This also will help to set precedents in the future if we have court cases that go to the Supreme Court on freedom of speech. Because if we can get our battle flag as a protected symbol, that will help our case so much. I know Mr. Kirk Lyons is also doing stuff on that from the Southern Legal Defense Center. I'll post that link there. I believe it is not this one. I'm going to go find the link, y'all. Southern Legal Resource Center. Here is the site for the Southern Legal Resource Center. Mr. Kirk Lyons does this. He is a great guy. Hopefully going to have him on soon. We posted that in there. Y'all go take a look at that website. That will help you learn more about how to get involved, and it teaches you the laws and everything, how they work, how they don't work, and it's a good place to support. Money makes stuff happen, y'all, and I know it's always difficult. We have to have that conversation that sometimes you got to dig down deep to where it hurts, because that is how the left is getting away with things. They have money. We have to fundraise for certain things to be possible. The other source to look at is Save Southern Heritage Florida. They are such a great resource. This is the web offer fantastic membership at only $25 a month, which is not month, $25 a year. Sorry, y'all. That is Save Southern Heritage Florida. Great resource. We do have a lot of good talks on there. H.K. Edgerton comes on there. It's a great way to support H.K. Edgerton. If you all know who he is a fantastic man. He is a former member of the NAACP, so he knows all too well how serious cancel culture is and why we must respect and defend free speech. So great way to interact with him. Get the membership, and it's online. You can ask him questions. You can interact with him. It's just a great all-around program, and you can connect to it virtually because we do a virtual streaming service for that. Back in the day, it was all through phone, and now we have a streaming service with camera. We're also having it'll be a great event to help HK Edgerton, to support him. If y'all like him, I order the HK Edgerton calendar every year. This calendar, the money goes directly to HK Edgerton, so it helps him with his travel expenses and whatnot, so he can continue to do different events. Because look, he's in his 70s, but he's still fighting strong, and we need him in this fight. He has done so much historically. It's actually, I think, come up on, is it on 20 years yet or something? I think 20 years since he did his historic march from North Carolina all the way to Texas to protest the removal of a monument. And know that George Bush, right? He was a Republican that also supported removing monuments. So right before we had Nikki Haley do this, George Bush did this too. And this is the sad state of affair when it comes to our monuments. All right, y'all. So I think that covers pretty much everything for today. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. I hope to see y'all soon next week. I'll be going live several times. Have a fantastic weekend, and Deo Vindice.